In this video, I'm going to share the real-life thought process and the approach for migrating an e-com store from one platform to another. So from platform A to platform B. Let's get started. So here on my screen, you can see the Excalibur, my whiteboarding tool I use every day, many times during the day. And here is a quick high-level map, right? Or schema, think of it however you want. It's basically split into a few sections. So first section called area, which is here on the left side, there are 3 areas. So there is a front end, platform, and tech strategy. And then within each area, there is a track, or actually a few tracks. For example, for a front end, there are track 1 design, track 2 development. For a platform, track 3 data migration, and track 4 feature gap development. Track 5 is a tech strategy. So it's one area, one track. Let's just look at each track and talk through why each one of them is needed, what it includes, and how to get it done. So first track is in the front end area. So and track is design, right? So why do we need it? Basically, dev team needs at least some low fidelity customer journey map or low fidelity mocks to understand what are we building. So it's super simple, right? The idea is to visualize before you actually build. And this track helps it visualize without doing a lot of upfront work or creating high fidelity designs for something we don't even know yet is required or not. So that's the solution basically here. Here we say create design system or UI kit. In reality, in 2024, 2025, you can just like buy one on the internet and it will be great. It will include buttons, selects, combos, drop boxes, like checkboxes, whatever. It'll be a lot of base elements and probably some even more complex elements you could use. So second point is to understand scope of e-com platform. It's just, high level understanding of what are we building. Is it an e-com store? Like where does it shape? How many pages there are? PDP, PLP, other categories, or how do you group together multiple products into one category? Can you have multiple types of categories? What are the filters? Basically, stuff like that. What's the cart functionality, the promotion, do they happen on checkout, before checkout, on the cart page, that kind of thing. Provide few basic screens that will follow the design system for desktop and mobile. Again, this is just to establish some ways of working and guiding principles between design and development. Create like super simple, low fidelity, happy path customer journey map. This is done purely to communicate between stakeholders, designers, and dev teams. And this will help you align the dev roadmap with design roadmap and will actually be useful a little bit further in the work. How to do this is low fidelity mocks, user flows, and prototypes delivered in Figma. Nothing crazy here. Actually, second track is development, right? So why do we need one and what it is? Basically, to understand the scope of overall initiative for migration, to migrate from platform A to platform B, to identify risks early on by creating various proof of concepts or trying different technologies. When you have a choice, you need to somehow back that choice and back that decision. And proof of concept is a great way of doing it. And also to set up an approach and build out a team early. So what it includes, creating a front-end tech strategy, which is basically deciding on the framework you would use, figuring out the CMS, thinking about SEO concerns, like are you building a mobile app or no? and stuff like that. Also, how would you deploy it, right? Are you using any of the platforms like Vercel, or deploying on your private cloud or public cloud, like those kind of questions. And then deciding and figuring out the approach for automated acceptance tests. So this one is super important, and you probably want to start development at least having an idea of how your tests will look like. Also, at this stage happens the map and audit of the API endpoints mapped to front-end screens. So for example, if that's a PDP page, so product detail page, which endpoints would you be calling to get the information that will be presented on the screen for a user? And then also, as you do figure out the API endpoints, you want to map it through the Happy Path customer journey. So now actually, if you have one, you can then literally map API endpoint to each screen and confirm that you know how to display that data. So super important. How to do this is basically for tech approach and the framework and that kind of thing. You just what we do is I just write a simple document that is very digestible and easy to circle around within the team. For the mapping of the API endpoints, I just use a tool like whiteboarding, something like this, or even Miro board or Figma or Excalibur. There's really a ton of options. You just do it whatever works. And for proof of concept, you just create a repository and build out the POC out of the base components from UIKit. So again, this is where UIKit becomes useful. So you can see how the design track and development track work together in tandem as part of a single front-end area. Okay, now let's move on to the next area, which is platform. As part of the platform, there are really two tracks, but depending on your situation, it could be more, right? I'm just sharing what we've done recently. Maybe it will be an inspiration to you or will provide you. I mean, for me personally, I really like seeing how other people work, so I can learn something from them and apply it to my work. Maybe it'll be useful for somebody too. Okay, so as part of the platform area, there are two tracks. So first is data migration and feature gap development. So let's focus on data migration as it's a critical one. Why do we need it so early on? Here we're talking about the preparation. Basically to de-risk the migration and identify issues with data early on. Like generally speaking, is your data good quality or bad quality? Is it strict enough? Can we rely on it? And so on, right? How to do it is basically, or what do we do as part of this track? Is basically audit the data and data schema in platform A and compare against data schema on platform B. Like I said, you would assess quality of the data here. You would investigate the how to map the data from platform A to platform B, and then ideally you would also create an approach and proof of concept for performing that migration. This is a critical area, definitely worth spending time on, and absolutely a must is thinking about scale. Would the process for migrating data from A to B scale well enough, for example, to support millions of user records and tens of millions of customer data records, like, I don't know, orders, or what else is there, like likes, wish lists, and all of that kind of stuff, right? How do we document these findings? Is again for process, it's just a proof of concept. You just spend, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever required, to develop a reasonable proof of concept and present to a wider team to make sure it's it's going to work and everybody's aligned. And then also just documentation for data schema, data models for your findings. Again, just something in a readable format so that you can distribute among your team. So second track as part of platform area is feature gap development. So this is a track where you would want to analyze the feature gap between platform A and platform B and figure out what you want to do with that, right? So it's mostly on product, but engineering helps here to assess and analyze and then help develop a plan, I guess. So how we do that is, first of all, you do the analysis between platform A and platform B, you capture it in a spreadsheet, and then you talk to your product person and then figure out you want to migrate some of these features, develop them in a new platform, or you want to sunset them or ignore, that kind of thing. And for every identified feature that will be migrated or created new on platform B, you want to have like an inception level notes for what it will take to implement this feature and some high level estimates. And this is delivered via like Google spreadsheet with notes and t-shirt size estimates. At least this is how I've done it before. Really works well for me. And the last area and the last track is tech strategy. So it is an area with a single track, but it's super important. It's about creating a high level vision for the platform, for ways of working, for how teams interact, for how we work between engineering and product. Super important track. And let me give you an example to try and illustrate what I mean by that. So let's imagine, usually the reason somebody's migrating from platform A to platform B is because they kind of grew out of their previous platform and they want to innovate and modernize the technology. So this is where it's super important to understand that previously how you worked does not mean that you'll continue working on a new platform too. So what I mean by that is often the challenges with the older legacy platforms is that it's a slow development cycle, no innovation, like slow pace of making changes, and like very challenging QA verification cycle. So as part of this track, what I'm doing is I'm trying to align everybody on how we will work forward on the new platform. So from doing releases once a week or twice a month or even once a month with dedicated QA cycle on separate environment with teams running, for a week after the code freeze. I hate the term code freeze. To a continuous delivery model where you have QA embedded as part of the team, every change is verified, and at any point in time, the code in main branch is deployable to production, releasable. So that is like a big shift for a lot of I've seen 3 migrations in my career. For all of them, it was like a big cultural shift, right? It's modern technology. So it's super important to give people an understanding of how things will work going forward and set up expectation on their day-to-day activities. And again, why this is important is just to set up the team for success and create a common and aligned vision between stakeholders and various teams that participate. And the way to do it is basically just spending time together, creating also like a shared one pager of the press release style, right, of the new platform that you can just circle around, and every time there is a challenge or there is a decision somebody need to make, you can compare it against this vision to see if it stands against it. So yeah, that's it. Basically, I'm just sharing the real stuff here we used for when we did this migration. hopefully it's useful. So for the next video, do you think it'll be useful if I dive deep into each of these tracks and talk a little bit and behind the scenes of how and what we've done, but instead of just like going through each of these steps, maybe share some other behind the scenes on something like this? Let me know.